الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
सबसे फरमाइए अल्लाह अकबर الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين فلما دخلوا عليه قالوا يا أيها العزيز مسنا وأهلنا الضر وجئنا ببضاعة مزجاة فأوف لنا الكيل وتصدق علينا إن الله يجزي المتصدقين قال هل علمتم ما فعلتم بيوسف وأخيه إذا أنتم جاهلون قالوا أئنك لأنت يوسف قال أنا يوسف وهذا أخي قد من الله علينا إنه من يتق ويصبر فإن الله لا يضيع أجر المحسنين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قالوا تالله لقد آثرك الله علينا وإن كنا لخاطئين. قال لا تثريب عليكم اليوم يغفر الله لكم وهو أرحم الراحمين. اذهبوا بقميصي هذا فألقوه على وجه أبي يأت بصيرا وأتوني بأهلكم أجمعين. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل برحمتك يا
Those brothers who have completed their namaz are requested to come forward. Inshallah, we'll be continuing from last week on the Fiqh of Ramadhan, going over the things that break your fast and the things that do not break your fast today, the invalidators and the non-invalidators, inshallah. जो हज़रात नमाज से फारिग हो गए, उनसे गुजारिश है कि आगे तशरीफ़ ले आए. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون صدق الله العظيم. Respected brothers, elders, respected listeners, as you know, Ramadan, the month of Ramadan is coming close, and this presentation and the 3 weeks fiqh of the month of Ramadan and the Masa'il of Ramadan are there so we can prepare ourselves. Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُم. That the fasting has been prescribed upon you. Rosa fasting, like it was prescribed and obligatory on the previous ummah. كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُم. So the fasting, min qablikum, the people before us, they were fasting and they used to fast. But their fasting and the Masa'il there was different than the fasting ourselves. Their fasting was different, the way they would fast, the things that they had to do. I mentioned last week, even pre-Islam, before the Islam, they would still, the Ahl Kitab would fast. When the Prophet ﷺ came, when before the fasting was prescribed in the second year of Hijrah. Fasting was prescribed in the second year of Hijrah, same time when zakat was obligatory upon the ummah. And before that, before the obligation, it was fard to fast on the 10th on the Muharram. That was the first. When the Ramadan fast became compulsory, the Muharram fast became nafal. So the Fiqh of Ramadan, we are going to be, inshallah, we've done the introduction, we'll be going through some of the points, and only 2 things this week, inshallah, the Masa'il on things that break the fast. So it's important for us to understand the Masa'il, understand and know beforehand what we are allowed to do and what we can't do. And at least we are prepared. There may be one occasion, sometimes there may be Masa'il that we may need to ask, but this at least we are aware that what we can do. So the things that invalidate the fast and the things that do not invalidate the fast. Now, do you have the thing? The things that invalidate the fast and the things that, so there's 2 types. You have to understand the things that invalidate the fast and the things that don't invalidate. These things, these Masa'il, is Quran, and it says, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. You have to ask the people of knowledge, not only for fasting, for any other Masa'il. If you want to open a business, we should go to the scholars and seek knowledge on what is permissible, what is not permissible. We want to get married. It is important that we ask advice and we get that Masa'il and the fiqh of marriage. So we understand what is the right and what are the rights of the husband and the wife. So all of these Masa'il are there. Like if you are going to open up a business, or in dunya, we're going to study or take on a course, we usually ask the people of knowledge, people in that field, and we ask them for advice on what to do. Similarly, when it comes to the deen, we should also be looking to ask the people. So in the fasting, I'm just going to go over the 2 things today, inshallah, in this presentation, invalidators and the non-invalidators. In the coming weeks, inshallah, in the last final week, next week, we'll be doing the fidya, the kafara, and maybe many other masail questions that are asked, inshallah, in the following next week. The only 2 things you have to remember, the invalidators, there's one principle you have to remember, and the principle is that there's different, you have to understand. What's up? Or just put it on. The criteria for something that invalidates a fast, it has to have two conditions. When we just see up on the screen, inshallah, there are two conditions that make our fast not valid. Number one, the invalidator has a possibility of reaching the stomach or brain. So anything that you consume, whether it is, this is just like a principle you have to understand, injection, or whether you are taking something in, or whether something goes down the throat, if it reaches the stomach and if it reaches a brain. If you know this principle, then all the Masa'il, all the things that we are asking or we want to know, if we understand this principle, then we can work out whether this thing will break a fast or not. If something reaches the brain or if something reaches the stomach, those things will invalidate the fast. If things that don't, or like say injections, when we ask a question, this example, does it reach the stomach? No. Does it reach the brain? No. So will that break the fast? No. So this is just the principle. All these things, inshallah, we'll go through it. And the second thing, the invalidator enters a body via normal channels, openings of the body. So if the thing that invalidates a fast, it's entered into the body, and whether that is through mouth or the nose, the front or the back private parts, even if things are entered through these passage, then this passage, if it by entering reaches the brain, and if it reaches the stomach, the brains and the stomach, then these things will invalidate the fast. So based on this principle, inshallah, all the Masa'il will be, inshallah, going through. So there are some invalidators that just breaks the fast and you have to do qaza. And there are some invalidators that you have to do qaza and kafara. So there's two types. When you break the fast, when the fast is broken, you have to understand, that's fast. See, these are the invalidators. These things will break your fast. But you have to understand there's two types. Sometimes they will make qaza, and they will make, some others will make kafara. One type is that only qaza, and the other type is qaza and kafara. Now, which ones are going to be given? So the next one, if you see the oral invalidators, anything which passes the nasal or the oral passage and goes down the throat breaks a fast. Now, if you look at the next slide, those things that have only qaza only, these things, there's all the things that enter through the mouth and goes down the throat, and they will break the fast, and only qaza. Kafara, inshallah, will come to next few slides, where what is the kafara and how to pay the kafara, and how to, if you've broken the fast, and those things that will make qaza and kafara. These are the things. Number one is eating or drinking accidentally whilst conscious of fasting. So you drink, I mentioned last week, one is mistake and one is an accident, and the other is forgetting. You can have a full meal, a person has a full meal and he forgets that he is fasting. So that will not invalidate the fast. But if you accidentally eat, you were just chewing onto something, it doesn't break the fast. But let's say you accidentally swallowed eating or drinking, you were gargling. It's going to come next. You were gargling. And whilst gargling, you overdone the gargling, you were doing it so much, accidentally water goes down the throat. So eating or drinking accidentally, when you're conscious of fasting, you know you're fasting, that will break the fast. Only qaza is, you have to do qaza of it, you have to make up for one fast, not the kafara. Okay, second one, eating or drinking because one thought Maghrib entered, but Maghrib did not enter. So if, alhamdulillah, we in our places, we have announcements made through receivers, or the adhan is being called out in some places. But if, say, you are fasting in a nafal fast, today someone is fasting, and then you thought, say Maghrib was at 6:15, you thought the Maghrib was at 6:14 or 6:13, and you break the fast. Well, there's an incident, there's a masla, there's a person, he's fasting, and then, he heard the adhan. He heard someone else do the adhan in the house, and this person in the house, this masla has come up, he was upstairs and he heard someone do the adhan, one of his family members, and he thought the adhan was coming from the receiver, and then he broke the fast, and he thought that the Maghrib has entered. But the Maghrib had not entered. So eating or drinking because one thought Maghrib has entered will break the fast. Because it was our own kind of, it's the person himself, he did not take care, or he did not take care looking at the time or being knowing what is going, the timing, he's not aware of it. Or eating or drinking because one doubted that Fajr entered, but Fajr did not really enter. Fajr really did enter, Fajr did enter. So if you don't have the timetable and you thought, okay, timetable showing 4:42 is my time, at 4:52, I think that's the first day we have to stop eating. And someone thinks, 4:52, I'm going to carry on eating, it's 4:53 today, or 4:52, let me just have a glass of water. So he has a glass of water and he realizes that time is up, Fajr has entered, the fast is broken. So again, qaza and not kafara. So it's very important when we, in Maghrib time and Fajr time especially when we're doing sahri, some people wake up and they just have a glass of water when the time is done. It is better to finish 1 or 2 minutes before, or even 1 minute before. When the time has entered, it is better just to stop drinking or eating. Some people carry on all the way till Fajr. The timetable is made such that it is maybe done few minutes before, that you would have to ask your local ulama, the local masajid, that if you have broken the fast 1 minute early, so is that the exact time of the sunrise? Because sometimes we follow the timetable. The timetable is maybe 1 minute added on just to be on the safe side. Even for Fajr and Sahri, sometimes 1 minute is, when they make the timetable, it might be 1 minute before. So if you have eaten or drank anything, eating or drinking, and 1 minute's up, just ask the local masjid, the ulama, the scholars, that is this timetable accurate? Or you can even now maybe on internet find out what is the exact time of sunrise and sunset, sunset and dawn. And once you find out, then you can maybe work it out that way as well. But this is a masala you have to understand if in case this happens. Next one, eating or drinking forgetfully and thereafter thinking that fast is broken, to deliberately eat and drink afterwards. That's if you think the fast is broken. So one has a meal, totally forgetting that he is fasting. You have breakfast or lunch, or you have something to eat, or a glass of water. You forgot, so the fast does not break. But someone doesn't know the masla and he thinks, my fast is broken now anyway, I might as well eat. So now he's deliberately eating. That deliberately eating or drinking after thinking the fast is broken will make qaza. Okay, if you know the fast, deliberately, if you know that fast is not broken, then you deliberately eat afterwards, then you'll have to give qaza and kafara. Do you understand this masla? This masla is when you forgetfully you eat, and then after eating you think the fast is broken, then you deliberately eat. Then the fast is broken, qaza only. But if you deliberately eat and thinking that the fast is not broken, you know the fast is not broken because you know the masla now, but one still thinks and he eats, then there will be qaza and kafara. Okay, next one, swallowing a pebble or other items that people wouldn't typically eat. You wouldn't eat things like pebble, gum, pen, sometimes you hear paper, things that you don't eat, but you're eating and you're swallowing it. That also breaks the fast, but only qaza and not kafara. The things that will enter through mouth, again, swallowing water by accident when gargling for wudu or ghusl, with the exception of water that remains in the mouth. So when you're gargling, I made this point before, that this is a mistake a person makes. This goes down again, is making a mistake, eating or drinking by mistake. Someone goes to swimming, he swims during his fast in Ramadan, and obviously the water is going to go down accidentally. This will break the fast. So you have to be careful when you even have to go for farz ghusl. You should gargle, but you shouldn't overdo the gargling. Sometimes people try to take the gargling all the way down to the throat. That is not necessary when you are having even for farz ghusl. So when you are doing, so don't make it go down all the way to the throat and take it out thinking that's needed in a farz ghusl. Farz ghusl, you just need to gargle and keep it in the mouth. And you don't need to take it all the way down. Next, swallowing blood that exists from the gums and it's more than the saliva. So when you know you've swallowed blood, but then if it's the same thing is the same masala in wudu as well. If you spit It's the same as when you spit and you see more blood than the gums, then your wuzu breaks. Similarly, fasting, you swallowed that. So swallowing that exists from the gums. So you had a toothache, when you go to dentist, they take your tooth out and the blood is coming out, and you swallowed it by mistake. That will break the fast. Qaza only and not kafara. Swallowing toothpaste or mouthwash. I mentioned last week, it's better to avoid using toothpaste, mouthwash, but if someone wants to use it, tries to use it a bit, and you swallow any part of it, even if you're using mouthwash, you can be careful if you are going to use it. These things will make fast makruh. Remember I mentioned last week, if you do use a toothpaste or mouthwash, then the fast does not break. It makes it makruh. But if by accident it goes down the throat, it will break the fast. Deliberately swallowing vomit that reaches a mouthful. I've got a full slide, inshallah, maybe this week or next week, on vomiting. What kind of vomiting? One is deliberately vomiting, one is accidentally vomiting, and then there's mouthful vomiting, and there's less than mouthful. So there's different Masa'il on there, which we will have, inshallah, on the next few slides, maybe next week. But to this masla of this, it's qaza only, you deliberately swallow vomit that reaches a mouthful. Okay, so what kind of mouthful will break it? Inshallah, we'll do it. But this is one masla that qaza only, not kafara. Next one is vomiting, and thereafter thinking that the fast is broken, to deliberately vomit again. When you vomit, usually the fast doesn't break. It breaks when you swallow it deliberately. When you swallow it deliberately, then it will break. But then when you vomited and you thought the fast was broken, and that fast, thereafter thinking that fast is broken, you deliberately vomit. That vomiting will break the fast and not kafara. Okay, this is when you vomit. Again, I'm going to inshallah mention a full slide on vomiting. The things that go reaches the stomach or the brain through nose. Water used to clean the nose for wudu, or ghusl reaches the throat or the brain. Again, all you need to do is put the water in and make it just reach the inside of the nose. You don't take in too much water that it accidentally goes into the brain, or it goes into the stomach, or maybe it goes into the brain, and you can then that will break the fast. Next one, again, through the nose, inhaling medicine into nostrils. You have a cold, or you want to use some medicine. The doctor said you have to put it through the nostrils. So inhaling any medicine through, because that will reach the brains. That will break the fast. And that inhaling smoke by one's doing, on the condition of one's body doesn't benefit from it. So when there's smoke, and when there's so much smoke, and you inhale it that by your own self, you deliberately, intentionally, you inhale that smoke. And when you inhale the smoke, it goes through the nose, it will reach the brain. And because it reaches the brain, that inhaling the smoke or any kind of smoke will break the fast, inshallah. Next thing, how to fulfill kafara. If there's any question that you do want to ask, but maybe it's better to ask right at the end when you understand things that don't break the fast. Okay, so kafara, there's a principle is, if a person purposely, deliberately breaks his fast in Ramadan without a valid and a shari'i reason. A valid shari'i reason, you find out from the ulama, the scholars, the doctors will have said, or a mufti sahab, or an imam sahab, or your shaykh has said that these things, or you have a problem, you went to ask and said, no, you cannot break the fast. So valid and shari'i reason, you're allowed to break the fast. Emergency. The doctor has said that by you fasting, or if you remain fasting, this will cause your illness to increase. So these are the valid reasons you're allowed to break. But if without a valid shari'i reason, you eat, three things, it's very simple. Eating, drinking, and engaging in intercourse will have to make up for the broken fast in the month of Ramadan and kafara. So I told you there's two. One is only qadha. The slide before this, all those Masa'il was only qadha. When you do things deliberately, eating, drinking, or sexual intercourse during the month of Ramadan, during when you're fasting, this will make the qaza and the kafara. Okay? How do you give qaza and kafara? First you make the qaza, then the kafara. So what is Kapharajan? So a person will have to do qadha of the fast he broke. If you break one fast, one qadha, 2, 3, 4, however how many fasts that you have broken, you have to do qadha, and then you start your kafara. And kafara is to fast for 60 continuous days. In total he will fast for 61 days, because one was for qadha and the other was for kafara. 1 day qadha for the broken fast and 60 days for the kafara. How to fulfill the kafara? There's 3-4 ways, but the simple way is to fast 60 days, and those 60 days have to be continuously. If the 60 days of fast are not kept consequently or continuously, person will have to start all over again. So even if you get to 58, 59, you've kept 59 roza and one roza right at the end, for some reason you didn't, for again shari valid reason, you couldn't, or you didn't keep the fast, and then what happened? You have to keep the full 60 fast again. Okay, so you have to. If a woman experiences, obviously if it's a woman, she needs to continue fasting for 60 days, but she goes through those times that she's not allowed to fast, menstruation. During these days, due to which she was not able to fast, it will not be regarded as discontinuity for a woman, because this is a shari reason. She can't fast 60 days. That she won't find 60 days where there will be no days for us, after Dhul Hijjah. You can start fasting Dhul Hijjah, Muharram, Safar, Rabiul Awwal, Rabiul Thani. We have, for men it's easy, you can get 60 days, that's 2 months, where you won't have any reason not to fast. Maybe Eid comes, you're not allowed to fast in the Eid days, you're not allowed to fast in Ayyam al-Tashriq, the 10th, 11th, 12th of Dhul Hijjah. But for women, they will have every month, they can't fast. So this will not be regarded as discontinuity. Or the second way is to feed 60 people for 2 full meals for a day. 60 people, 2 full meals. Okay, so or one person, 2 meals for 60 days. So option number 1 is to fast. Option number 2 is find 60 people who are poor, give them 2 full meals, afternoon and the evening, full meals and that's for 1 day, that's enough. Or the second option is, if you can't find 60 poor people, 60, just find one person. And that one person, just say, I'm going to feed you for 60 days. And 60 continuous days, morning and evening full meals. That's also an option. It should be noted that the above mentioned is the order in which a person will have to give his kafara. It's not a choice. So only if a person is incapable of observing 60 continuous fasts, then you go into the option number 2. You understand? Like for example, a person has reached old age, or one may fulfill kafara through the second method. So the kafara is not optional. It has to be option number 1. And if that is not possible, then you go into option number 2. So if someone just says, I want to, because fasting 60 days, people might find it hard, and they want to give money because it's easier. So that to give them money, it's only for those elderly who can't fast for 60 days, or who are excused or exempted from fasting. For those, and who are exempted from fasting, inshallah we'll do that next week. What they need to do, the fidya, and what they need to give, that inshallah we'll do it next week. But today was just these 2 options for kafara. So if you do in the previous Ramadan have missed the fast, we should make kafara up for in 60 days. Alhamdulillah, we living in England, we have those November, December, January months where they're short. We can fast 60 days and then it's not difficult. But at least inshallah that 1 day we've missed fasting, Allah Ta'ala on the Day of Judgment we have made up for it. So this is a way to do the kafara. Okay, the things that do not invalidate the fast. Actions that do not invalidate the fast. Number 1, eating or drinking forgetfully. I mentioned this, you forget, and you can have a full meal. Understand, if someone is drinking, eating, and you just forget, you wake up and as a habit, you just drink water, you enter the sink. The hadith of Prophet ﷺ says, whoever forgets he is fasting and he eats and drinks, let him complete his fast, for it is inshallah Allah Ta'ala who has fed him and give him something to drink. So it doesn't break the fast. Next one, swallowing one's saliva and the wetness that remains after washing the mouth. So sometimes when you do wudu, we try to think that, there might be some saliva left. So we try to spit it all out. We keep spitting. There's a masala that came up that I feel like this was water. So what he does is he goes, do I keep spitting all the time? until I am convinced it's not saliva. He says, no, because the leftover water that's mixed with saliva now. So if you swallow that saliva, this will not invalidate the fast. Okay, this is when you mainly when you're doing wudu and you're gargling. Sniffing up mucus, even if it descends in the throat. You know, when you have mucus and you take it in and it goes down the throat sometimes. So you think, oh, it's like something's gone down the throat. It feels like something's gone. Does that break the fast? No, it doesn't. Okay. Inhaling smoke or dust unintentionally. When we done in the things that break the fast, it says when you inhale going from the nose and it goes to the brain. But when you inhale smoke unintentionally, when we're walking past a smoke and it goes into one nose, it was not intentional. Because of that, the fast will not break. Starting the fast in the state of major ritual impurity. Someone wakes up and has to go for farz ghusl. He had, in the state of janabat. A person starts his fast in the state of janabat as well, does not break the fast. He goes to sleep after fajr and he has to wake up and he has to go for a ghusl. This will not, because he's starting the fast. Even starting the fast in the state of janabat does not break the fast. Any type of injections, blood transfusions, kidney dialysis, glucose or saline drips or anything like that. Because remember the principle, anything that goes into the brain and stomach breaks a fast. But with these things, injection, yes, unless the injection is in the stomach, then that will break the fast. Blood transfusion, kidney dialysis, all these things, because they don't reach the brain and stomach, these things don't break the fast. So any type of injection, any type of appointments you have in Ramadan, even dentist appointments, if it's just a check-up and clean-up, then it's fine. But if it's going to be taking the tooth out, then things will go down the throat accidentally, that will break the fast. But sometimes we do try to avoid, obviously, in the month of Ramadan, but these things do not break the fast. Injections or anything. If you want to take, vaccines or any type of vaccines, it will not break the fast. That's going to come, inshallah, the asthma pump and all that stuff in the next. Blood test or cupping or any form of blood extraction. If you have to go for a blood test, then it's fine. You can book it in the month of Ramadan. If you want to do cupping in the month of Ramadan, then that's absolutely fine. Also, any form of blood extraction in any form does not break the fast. Tooth extraction subject to not swallowing the blood or medicine. Okay, so if you have to go for a dentist appointment and they've given you an appointment in the month of Ramadan, then it's not this, they take out your tooth. See, it might be bleeding. Now they just make it numb. And when they give obviously the medicine, as long as the medicine doesn't go down the throat, it's fine. They might just give you injection. Now they don't even give you medicine, they give you injection, and after injection, they take out the tooth. So it's sometimes doesn't, after the injection, the tooth is taken out, nothing has gone down the throat. Hence, the fast will not break. Unless it starts to bleed and the blood goes down the throat. And they sometimes, to clean it, they use these things to clean up as well. The machines that they use between the teeth, that won't break the fast as long as the bits don't go down the throat. If there's a filling that they're making, they're doing it as long as nothing goes down the throat. It's the same principle. As long as it doesn't go down the throat, any dental appointment, it's okay, as long as you know. But if it does, the best thing is to avoid when you're in the month of Ramadan. But there might be some appointments you can't avoid. You've been waiting for months, and after 2 months you get that appointment and you have to go. Then you have to go to the appointment, but make sure it doesn't go down the throat. Inhaling air through continuous positive airway pressure, or inhaling oxygen as long as combined with another substance. So when you go to appointments, when you go into hospital, you are given gas or oxygen. And when you need oxygen and the oxygen is given to you, this does not break the fast. For maybe, emergency reasons, you're paramedic, something happens and you're fainting and they're having to give you oxygen for some reason, it will not break the fast. Swimming or submerging body in water without swallowing water. I mentioned this before. If you go to swim, it's fine if you just keep your head above the water. Or a bath, you're having a bathtub, you're just lying down, as long as your head is not inside the water. Even if it's inside the water, that's fine, and close your mouth. if you have to. But let's just say if someone swims and continues and then the water goes down the throat, it will break the fast. Application of perfume, fragrance, and smelling of it does not break fast. Smelling anything, any type of perfume, any type of itar, after shave or anything you want to put on, these things don't break the fast at all. Surma, application of surma, anything that goes into the eye, does not invalidate the fast. It is desirable to use miswak whilst fasting, and it does not break the fast. So people, say miswak instead of toothbrush, use miswak. It's actually mustahab to use miswak whilst you are fasting, and because it's mustahab, you should use miswak, but it doesn't break the fast. Even if it's got the taste, sometimes you get the mint ones. If it's a fresh one, it won't break the fast. Tasting of food does not invalidate fast. But you shouldn't taste food. However, it is disliked. This is makruh to taste the food without any real need or necessary. So sometimes you're making food, and this is for the wives, mothers and sisters listen at home. If the husband is going to come home and be angry, and he's going to not like the food, so the wife sometimes need to taste how much salt is in the food. So she might just taste the food. Now that is necessary. She might need to taste the food to find out how much salt, or is it too much salt. So it will not break the fast. But if there's no need, you want to know how much salt needs to go in, then it doesn't, even if you taste it, it will make a makruh. But it doesn't break the fast, because nothing, by tasting, you see, nothing's gone down the throat. Nothing has reached the stomach. When you taste something, that's why toothpaste, when you taste it, it's not gone down the throat. If you taste, it's like I said, taste blood, you've tasted it. So it's just a small blood that's maybe coming out your gums. It's not going to, it's just tasting, you feel like it's in the mouth. So you spit it out, it's not going down the throat. These things don't break it. It has to reach the stomach. Taking a bath or a shower, or pouring water over one's head, either due to heat or account of being thirsty. If you're feeling thirsty and you just want to put water, you're feeling hot, it won't break the fast. You can have a shower, you can have a bath as well whilst you are fasting. The next one, for those who are married, kissing or embracing one's spouse does not break the fast, provided that it does not lead to intercourse. Foreplay, any sort of foreplay, husband and wife, after Fajr, if they're going to sleep, and there's, it turns, if you do foreplay with husband and wife, whatever, kissing, if embracing one's wife, it won't break the fast. But it says, as long as it does not lead to intercourse or any emission of body fluids. If the saliva of the spouse, you see, if you're kissing and the saliva of the spouse is swallowed due to kissing, the fast will be invalidated. If there is a danger that a fasting person may not be able to control their desires, young people, newly married, and they are going to do this, or just do the kissing, and if you think you're going to be weak and you're not going to have the control of your desires, then it is forbidden for them to engage even in any type of foreplay, kissing or embracing. And so if someone knows if it's just going to be not going to lead, you can't control your desire, then it's okay. It doesn't break the fast. It doesn't make it makruh. But as long as the saliva of your spouse is not swallowed. Lastly, application of eye drops does not break the fast. So anything goes through the eyes. Wearing contact lenses does not break the fast, because the eye drops, the fuqaha, it just says it just stays around the eyes. It doesn't go to the brain, or it doesn't go into the stomach. It's the same principle. Nicotine patches, those who are addicted to smoking and they are craving for a cigarette, or they need a cigarette, so they use nicotine patches, and I think they put it on to take away that urge of smoking. So they use nicotine patches, and if you do apply the nicotine patches on your body parts, it doesn't break the fast. Wet dreams, again, wet dreams, that's the same masla as you starting off a fast in the halat of janabat. So even a wet dream. It is disliked to use toothpaste while fasting due to the danger of the toothpaste being swallowed and causing it. So this masla has already been, I think it's mainly desired to use miswak while. So the other one was miswak, does not break fast. This mainly, miswak should be used when you want to avoid using toothpaste and mouthwash. And there's no evidence that suggests that the application of lip balm, people have different things that they put on the lips without the contents being swallowed or going down the throat. So if you put things on the lip, if your lips become dry, if you put medicines, as long as you don't swallow it, Vaseline people put on, if you can put Vaseline on your lips, as long as again it's not swallowed, this doesn't break the fast. Provided that the water, blood or any other substance does not go down the throat, the fast is not invalid. It is advised to be cautious and to schedule the appointments outside the fasting hours. This is just for any this is like a principle at the end, that anything that does go down the throat, as long as, this is like the principle as well, appointments, anything does not go, all these medicines that you take, as long as it doesn't go down the throat, water, blood or any other substance in medicine does not go down the throat, if you're going to make appointments, the fasting does not break. So that's the things that does not invalidate fast. If anyone does have any questions that they want to ask, things that break the fast, most of, I said, if you remember the principle, most of have been mentioned, the usual things that we need to ask. If there are any other questions, next one we're going to do, there's one more, sorry. Injections do not invalidate the fast as long as it's not injected in the stomach. We've done that, as in any type of injection they came. Blood test, if you have to go for blood tests. Insulins, I think we've, as long as it's not injected in the stomach, we've gone through this as well. Cupping does not invalidate the fast. It is advised to avoid cupping. And the last thing here is just masla, backbiting. It's not a good habit. We should avoid backbiting, especially during the month of Ramadan. But again, it doesn't break the fast, it makes it makruh. That's just the actions do not invalidate the fast. Anyone has any questions on this? Anything want to ask? We've just got a few further asked questions. We'll go through that for today, inshallah. And then we'll finish. So questions regarding things that break the fast. Okay, I think there's a asthma pump. What about asthma? Does that break the fast? So I said this is a question that comes up. You have to understand the principle, and using an asthma pump while fasting will invalidate the fast, and qaza will be necessary. Only qaza, not a kafara, if you have to use it. If a person cannot fast at all without an asthma pump, then what does he do? He may use it and perform qaza of those days when he can fast without having to use an asthma pump. Qaza here is a matter of caution, ihtiyat. So in summer days, a lot of us, we can't do without, people who need the asthma pump. So what their advice is, in winter times, you should make up for that fast. However, if a person is incapable of performing qaza later, he should pay fidya. If the asthma is so severe that you can't do without even few hours without the asthma pump, then the fidya. The fidya, sometimes people just think they have asthma, so they just use asthma pump, so they're not going to fast and they just give fidya. But the first masala is you should actually try to make up for that in the winter time and then pay the fidya if that's not possible as well. Deodorants and perfume, these are all these sprays. All the sprays, we've done this, but this is a bit more detailed. All the sprays which contain even alcohol, the ones that are halal, the alcohol in it, or it is any of these sprays that goes down the throat, it does break the fast. Applying it is fine, but you have to be careful it does not go into the mouth. If someone else is spraying and it goes down, the vapors go down your throat, while you did not intend to inhale it, then your fast will not break. So there's a difference. This, you have to be careful because it's your own action. Someone else sprayed it and it goes down. There's the vapors, sometimes these perfumes that they have. So when you're spraying it on yourself, just avoid your mouth, and if it does go down, then it will break. Someone else sprays it and it comes onto your face, this doesn't break it. One should exercise caution in using any substances that may jeopardize your fast. So just ihtiyat and be careful how these things are used. Nasal sprays. So again, if a person uses nasal spray, his fast will become nullified. Solution, consult a doctor, ask whether the same medication can be applied by means of cotton swab to the inner lining of the nose. So if you have to use nasal sprays, any type of just ask a doctor, I'll be fasting, can I have an alternative? Any other medication as well, can you just ask for an alternative? You know, even when you're fasting and you have to take the medication, try to get those medication and ask advice from the doctor. What do I do whilst I'm fasting? Even if in the manner of the medication will not traverse beyond the nasal tissue. In this manner, meaning that when it's cotton swab that is when you are using that, it doesn't go inside. That's why it's better to use that. This is an area that the medication can be applied without breaking your fast. So instead of using nasal spray, get medication to apply it on your nose. It's better to use that. That does not break the fast. Fasting on aeroplane. So what should one do? If one does need to fast, it is given immense reward for you doing so. If you need to fast whilst traveling, it is maaf. You don't need to fast, but a person will base his fast on the time zone of the area the plane is currently flying through. So it may be that your fast may be so long, because if you're traveling from east and you're traveling all the way towards the west, it's happened, say you're traveling here in the morning after fasting, and you travel all the way, traveling to America, Canada, and you're traveling, say, all the way to Vancouver, you're going to be traveling for 6-7 hours. When you go there, it's still daytime. In England, it might be Maghrib time, but you will have to follow the time zone there, where you're praying even. But if you're going towards the west, it might be shorter fast, because the sun is coming towards you. From the if you're traveling towards the east, if you're going to India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, traveling towards that side, what will happen is sun will come towards you, and because the sun has set according to the place that you're flying over, then you will not need to fast. You need to do it according to that. Use a flight magazine which has a time zone in different countries. Find out. You can look outside and you know when the sun has set, and you can do it according to that. Ask the stewards of the timing of Subh Sadiq, dawn. Find out. You can ask and ensure that you have had suhoor before that, before the time. And again, what the country that you are flying over. Inshallah, menstruation during Ramadan, because it's long masla, I just want to do it for 40 minutes. We'll do this inshallah from next week. There are other questions, masa'il, that does not, like vomiting, that menstruation during Ramadan for women, because there's different types of masa'il, different types of women who enter into the Ramadan with menstruation, or when it starts during. So there's different maslas. It's quite long. Inshallah, these maslas we'll do next week. So the next week we're just going to finish off these maslas. Any questions and people have asked, we'll go through those maslas, real people who have asked us fatwas that are mentioned in fatwa. We'll go through that. We'll go through kafara, those are exempted, and few du'as inshallah in the final week. Any other questions you have, inshallah, you can ask inshallah in the following. Jazakallah. Subhanallah bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma bihamdika, wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.